This is a demonstration of the gammaDog mobile application, and I'm going to demonstrate it as if it's a fresh install. So initially it's going to ask for some permissions in order to get full functionality, and you should allow these permissions as they come up. And the first one that it asks for is access to the Bluetooth. Now, you really only need access to the Bluetooth if you're also using one of my gammaDog instruments in association with this app. Most people won't be doing that, so it doesn't really matter whether you say OK or don't allow. I'm going to say OK. And then it gives you a little teaser about what to expect with this app. And so let's just hit next. And the most important permission that it needs is access to your GPS location. So now rest assured that gammaDog does not share this location information outside the application itself. It all gets stored internally, and only if you choose to export it explicitly will that information ever leave the application. So let's go ahead and give it permission. And we'll say while using the app. And so there are a couple of important features on most of the pages. One is the back button up in the upper left-hand corner. That allows you to go back to the previous page. And if you ever are unsure what to do next, you can use the help button in the upper right-hand corner. And on the bottom, you'll see that there is a plus button that's used to add waypoints, and that's the first thing we're going to do. So let's get started. And we come up with a blank set of waypoints because we haven't added anything yet. So let's go ahead and hit the plus button here on the bottom. And it always wants us to give us a title. So I'm sitting here in my office, so I'm just going to say office, and I'm going to say OK, and I'm going to use the camera to take a quick picture, and of course it wants access to the camera initially, so we'll say OK. And access to the photos, and then I'm just going to take a quick picture here, and say use the photo. And we can add a description if you like. This is where I work. OK. Now, the other thing we could add is some audio down here with the audio button, but the microphone is currently tied up making this video, so I won't be able to demonstrate that. Now, one other feature that I want to show you is if you tap the image itself, it comes up into a viewer, which you can rotate, you can expand, you can scroll around. So that's kind of handy. If the audio were recorded, it would actually play the audio for you at the same time. So one other feature is that you have the actual coordinates of where this waypoint was created. If you tap that, it'll actually copy the coordinates into the clipboard. So if you go to another application, you can paste the coordinates in there. Or you can actually edit the coordinates right here if you want to add the coordinates of a specific location. But we'll just cancel that out for right now. And there's one other button down here, the map button, that will actually allow you to plot this waypoint on a mapping application. I'm going to skip that for now. I'm just going to say done. All right, so now we've got our first waypoint in there. And let's quickly add another waypoint. And this time, I'm going to take a picture of the yard and say OK. And once again, I'll use the camera here and just point my phone out the window here. All right, we'll use that photo. And we'll say done. All right, so now we've got two waypoints. and there's no limit on the number of waypoints. Now, the waypoints are actually never going to get lost, but sometimes you want to store them off or share them externally, and that's what the backup button is. So let's go ahead and hit that, and it'll ask for permission for access your storage. You say OK, and you can either save your waypoints or you can load previously saved. So let's hit save, and we forgot to give our waypoints a title, so let's just say test. Okay, and hit the backup button again and save. And this time you'll see you have a lot of options for saving. You can send this via email. You can store it on the cloud, on Google Drive, or on my cloud. You can send it as a message. I'm just going to save it in the local files here on my phone. And I'm going to say save. And now it's saved. So that's how you save it, and actually we could go ahead and load it back up again and load. And let's go ahead and clear out the existing waypoints, and I'll say yes. And now we can go here to find the file that we just saved. Here it is, test. We can hit it, and there they are. There they came right back. So that's how you add waypoints. Now, to demonstrate the other features, I'm going to go ahead and load up a previously saved list that's a little bit more interesting. And I'm going to clear these out, yes. And let's just say I'm going to go down here. This is a jog that I did this morning, actually. And so it's got a bunch of waypoints on it, and what we're going to do is take a little tour of these waypoints. That's what the tour button is down here. So I'm going to hit tour, and now we can see that a map comes up down here on the bottom showing the location of each of these waypoints, and it starts at the beginning in my office once again. And now I can scroll through the waypoints, and you can actually see that as I scroll, it moves the map to the location of that waypoint. And so there's a tree, and there's a crossing, and that's the furthest point on my walk. And as I come back, there's the bench. And now if you actually tap down here on the pen, it'll show you the title that you gave that waypoint. And here is a turkey and a deer and a couple more deer. And now we're back home. We're at the front of the house again and back in the office. So that's how you take a tour of your waypoints. Once again, if there were audio recorded with these waypoints, you would hear that audio in addition. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to our list of waypoints, and the next feature I want to show you is how you can export these waypoints to an external mapping application. So I'm going to hit Map, and just for simplicity, I'm going to use Google Earth, which is installed on my phone. So I hit Google Earth, and it'll come right up, and it'll plot all my waypoints. And in addition to that, I had tracking turned on when I did my jogging, so that's what the little path is. So you can actually see the path that I took between my waypoints. So now I'm going to show you how you can manipulate your waypoints in a number of ways. And for instance, if you tap one of the waypoints, it gives you a number of options. For one thing, you can edit it, which will take you back to this screen where you can change the title or the description or the image. So you can do anything you want with that waypoint. And then when you're done, you hit done, or you hit the back button. But let's look at some of the other options. You can actually change the order of these waypoints. You can move it up or down. And then there's one of the coolest features is you can navigate to this waypoint. What does that mean? Well, let's just try it out. Let's say navigate to, and it comes up with a little compass at the top of the screen. And let's go to, you can scroll through the waypoints, and what the arrow indicates is the direction that you need to go in order to go directly to that waypoint. So if you were able to walk directly in this direction, you would arrive at the corner, just as indicated. And you can widen this out, and you can actually watch. You're the blue dot, and so you can actually watch yourself walk toward that. In this case, the corner is right here. So that's a really cool feature, especially when you're out in the wilderness and you may not even have internet access or no cell service, but this feature will still work because it just relies solely on the GPS signal. So that's how the navigation works. And the other feature that you get when you tap on one of the waypoints is you can copy this to the other waypoint list. Now, there are actually two waypoint lists to work with. I'm going to cancel this out to show you here. So we've been working with waypoint list number 1. In the lower right-hand corner is waypoint number 2. If you go over here, you see we don't have any right now, which is to be expected. We haven't added any over here. So I'm going to go back to waypoints 1, and let's say that we want to move the animals that we found over to the other waypoint list. So we're going to hit the deer here, and we're going to say copy that to the other waypoint. Now if we go over here to the waypoints, we actually see there they are. We can take a tour, and there's the waypoint plotted on our map, and there are the deer up there. So let's go back to our waypoints number 1, and let's move this deer. Let's copy that over there, and let's copy the turkey. Let's see, do we have any other? No other animals. Okay, so now if we go over here to waypoints 2, we see we got all the animals. So this gives you a lot of flexibility in how to manage your waypoints. You can reorder them. You can delete certain waypoints. Like we could go back over here. Now we could delete the animals if we wanted to shorten up this list of waypoints. And then we go over the other list of waypoints, and we can store these off as a separate list. So those are the main features of the application. About the only other feature that's of interest is if you're actively moving around and you want to keep track of exactly where you've been, you can click on the tracking, and this will then constantly store tracking information so that when you then go to map your waypoints, you'll actually see the path that you took as well as the waypoints. So I believe those are the main features, and really you can just try things out, and it's probably going to be pretty safe because it always warns you if you're going to do something that you can't recover from. Like if you try to delete something, it's going to say, are you sure you want to delete this? So I'm going to say cancel on that. So Enjoy the gammaDog application. I think you'll find a lot of uses for it, and if you ever need to contact me, you can send me an email at gammadogger@gmail.com. That's GAMMADOGGER@gmail.com. Thank you very much.